Wow. Railroad's brand new terminal on the east side. Transfers are available to the 4, 5, 6, and celebrate the grand opening. Learn more about our new service in our train time app or visit mta.info.
This is an incredible, incredible day. Incredible.
New terminal.
Amazing. Beautiful. It's going to bring a lot of business to the east side.
Can you spell your name?
Jigisha. J-I-G-I-S-H-A.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody all set? A lot of excitement. Everybody ready? All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this historic day at Grand Central Madison. We got the job done. We are here. We just took the train in from Jamaica Station, and it was extraordinary. Smooth, easy, bright. And then you come up the stairs, come up the escalator, over 100 feet, and you realize this has been a phenomenal accomplishment to get this project done. And so I am so proud to be here on this extraordinary day. I want to first thank Janno Lieber, the chair and CEO of MTA. He has lived and breathed this project. He was brought on to break open the logjam that made this project talked about for decades, literally since 1963, 60 years ago, people envisioned a project like this. And there were so many roadblocks and challenges and detours along the way. But Janno Lieber persevered. He brought in the team that would not take no or failure for an answer. And I want to commend him for all he has done. So let's give a round of applause to the man who made it happen, MTA's own Janno Lieber. Kathy Rinaldi, taking on the responsibility of being the president of not just Metro North, but the Long Island Railroad. And Kathy, under your leadership, the on-time trains, the pleasant experience, the positive acknowledgments we're getting from all your customers is amazing. So I want to thank you for putting a whole different face on the experience for our commuters from the Long Island Railroad and Metro North. So thank you. Let's give a round of applause to Kathy. Stephen Goodman, our Region 2 Administrator for the Federal Transit Administration. We don't get this done without a lot of help from the federal government. I want to thank Stephen for his stewardship of this project as well. And speaking of Washington, couldn't be here today, But I want to thank our Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, for his perseverance in helping get this project over the finish line as well. So to Senator Schumer, we thank you in your absence. So, it was quite a journey to get here. I'm not talking about the 22-minute ride from Jamaica Station. I'm literally talking about something that started under 8 of my predecessor governors. It's been 9 governors who've worked to try and get this accomplished. People lived and died never seeing this come to fruition until now, until this very moment. And why? Because this is New York. There's nothing you cannot imagine. There's nothing you can't do right here in the state of New York. So I want to thank everyone involved in this project. And I love the fact that this is a brand new terminal. It's extraordinary. We have a world-class artist who lent our talents to us, even in her 90s, Kusama, designed something that's her gift to her beloved city of New York. But for our commuters, the people we represent, the ones we care the most about, we are giving them something that's precious. We're giving them time back in their lives. As a mom, I know extra 30, 40 minutes to be back with your kids, helping them pack the lunches, do the homework at the end of the day, maybe even taking care of yourself a little bit. This is all a gift. Think about the people from Long Island and also in Queens, southeastern Queens, vibrant communities, where people have to take a bus to a subway. We're hearing from people saying, you literally gave me 30, 40 minutes back that I never had before. That is extraordinary. That is what this engineering feat, this extraordinary accomplishment has done for everyday New Yorkers, and that is why I'm most proud. So as we created this space, we talked about what the needs are, what people want to see. They want to see something bright, uplifting, lift up your spirit when you head off to your jobs, but also for people who've had to go all the way over to Penn to do a backtrack and come back to the East Side. Those days are over. And for the businesses that are struggling after the pandemic, trying to get workers back, they have one more reason to say, come on back. You can have a beautiful ride, get time back in your life, and not have to crisscross back across this beautiful borough. We did all that here today. And I say to all of you, it's a beautiful station, the modern blended with the old, and people have a chance to go up and see the iconic, globally known place known as Grand Central. It is beautiful here. And again, this took a long, long time. It's been nearly 110 years to the day since a new terminal, the last major rail terminal opening in our state. The first extension of the Long Island Railroad in 112 years. First major American train station in 67 years. So those of you who say, what's the significance of this project? We have shattered records, we've made history, and for the lives of our commuters, we've made a difference. That's why I'm proud to be here today and very proud to introduce the person who broke open the log jams, who got the trains running, the one and only Janno Lieber. Thank you, Janno.
Thank you. This is an exciting day for New York. It's an exciting day for the MTA. But I need to start by thanking you, Governor Hochul. You took an early and active interest in this project. There are a lot of people who I worked with and talked with in government who said to me in my early days at the MTA, don't waste your time. Don't sully your reputation by becoming too associated with East Side Access. That's what some people said. You didn't. You said, I'm interested in this. Tell me about it. I want to visit it. And you came here time and again. Yes, to cheer us on as we hit milestones, but also to remind us, as you always say, that this project is about quality of life and giving something back to everyday New Yorkers, to Long Islanders, but also, as you say, to the people of Queens, who are getting dramatically reduced travel times and amazingly discounted travel on the railroad thanks to the city ticket program that you have started to expand. So thank you. We're here just a few short weeks away from running full service that's going to dramatically improve and change transportation in the region. As I said, it's going to benefit Long Islanders. It's going to benefit them with shorter commutes, which is what the governor always talks about. But we can't forget about the Long Island businesses who, for the first time, are going to be able to recruit from the entire region for workers. We have reverse commuting on the Long Island Railroad thanks to this project and Third Track, and that is game-changing. We also have what the governor talked about, which is a shot in the arm for the New York regional economy. This project brings Long Island closer to the heart of New York City. Long Island and New York are getting closer thanks to this project. And that is great news for everybody who wants to see people come back to offices, back to theater, back to shopping, back to using the city the way they always did, getting the most out of this amazing region. We also have to acknowledge, once again, the leadership that we got from Washington, not just Chuck Schumer, New York's guardian angel in the Congress, but also from the partners we had at USDOT, both the Federal Transit Administration and the Federal Railroad Administration. Steve, all of your team, the governor mentioned you, thank you. Please convey our appreciation. 40% more Long Island Railroad service. This is not going to be what people used to call the Long Island Snail Road. This is an increase of capacity that allows people to have more frequent service, more reliable service, and more options. Not just time savings, options, frequency, convenience. And it starts today with this shuttle that's going to go on for a few weeks. We want people to come to Grand Central Madison, get familiar with it, because there are amazing opportunities to get even more convenient connections. Down at that end, you connect to Grand Central. You're in the heart of 42nd Street corridor. Up that end, you're up 47th or 48th Street. You can get to Rock Center. You can move to where is most convenient, where you're headed in moments. It's amazing. And we will be putting out the full schedule so people can start to plan their trips. But in the meantime, this shuttle service is really a chance for everybody to come and see this wonder, and also to start to get comfortable and acclimated to how to use it. Another thing, I can't resist mentioning it now, because you can now travel from Port Jeff on the island to Poughkeepsie. We're going to do a combo ticket. We're going to make it inexpensive for people to use the whole regional railroad system. You're going to get a discount when you take a ride on both the Long Island Railroad and Metro North. It makes sense now that these two great railroads finally are roommates in historic Grand Central Station. It's no secret, as the governor said, that it took a while to get to this point. It was rocky. But when I took over as president of MTA C&D, the construction operation at MTA, the project was a hot mess. We tore it apart. We put it back together again. We said, never again are we going to let the schedule slip. We hired a new team and said, no schedule slippage, get it done. And you know what? We delivered. And we fully acknowledge that the 3-week lateness is 3 weeks late. I'm going to call that a grace period. But I will never cede my pride in the fact that COVID happened and the rest of the projects in the United States incurred major delays. This one got done. So I'm very, very proud of that, and I'm really proud of the team. A couple of thank yous. The governor mentioned Kathy Rinaldi, who really whipped the Long Island Railroad into a position to actually operate this huge new facility, training and hiring and planning. Amazing work. And she only had about 9 months to do all that, because at that point her predecessor railroad left, and we asked Kathy to take it on. Jamie Torres Springer, as my successor at MTA C&D, has done a hell of a job in bringing the project forward. But I also need to acknowledge the leadership of the construction workers, unionized construction workers, who delivered day after day, who showed up through COVID. This is an enclosed space. They were operating in tunnels. We had to figure out how to work safely, and they did. We had very low rates of COVID spread because people learned to work very safely. They kept showing up. every day right through the height of COVID. Our union partners, here represented by SMART and the TCU and some of the other unions, are really central to making this project a success, both construction phase but also operating phase. So thank you to our union partners. And thank you to the Long Island Railroad workforce who has stepped up to get ready. I mean, you cannot imagine the complexity of the training that people had to go through to be ready to operate and to drive trains and operate in the new tunnels and so on and so on. And the railroad team has been amazing. We'd be nowhere without them. So my message to New York is come see this amazing new facility. We love Grand Central. It is the temple of mass transit, and now it has a new chapel. Come visit it, enjoy the art, get to know the station, and please enjoy that extra time that, thanks to the state of New York, the federal government, and Governor Hochul were able to deliver to Long Islanders and New Yorkers. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any questions from the press? I'll let you.
I would just love to know if you have any details about when the full schedule is going to be announced and when people can expect that.
Absolutely, in 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, this is a time frame for people to get used to the new schedules, get used to the station overall, but in about 3 to 4 weeks we'll be rolling at full strength.
Hello, congratulations. A couple things. Janno, I know you've said this project for a while was kind of the model of how not to build a project. We're celebrating today, but this project was more than 10 years late, more than $5 billion over budget. What are the lessons learned by everything that went wrong? And Governor, if you had to do this over again, would you?
Yes, because we're talking about a legacy project. And I'm glad that 100 years ago that the people who came before us had the courage and the audacity to build tunnels, to build magnificent stations that are part of our identity. So this, governing the state of New York and leaning hard into complex but necessary infrastructure, is not always for the faint of heart. But I guarantee that 100 years from now, when they look back, and we've had an opportunity to grow our communities and bring more people here and give them a quality of life that is second to none because we invested in this infrastructure, even if it took longer than wanting to. It will all say it was worthwhile. They will agree that this was a project worth undertaking. Lessons learned, bring in Janno Lieber a lot earlier.
Listen, Alfonso, you've heard me say this because I said it starting in 2018 when we tore the project apart and put it back together again. Core lessons. Do not take mega projects and balkanize them into 50 separate contracts and projects, which will run into each other and cause sequential cascading delays. Use the principle of design build. You don't have to have only one contractor, but God knows you don't have to have 50. You have to have clear integration of a project using design build techniques and create accountability. The second is you have to have a totally detailed schedule. We took a schedule that was 8,000 work items and turned it into a schedule of 45 to 50,000 work items. You need to know every step that's got to get done, and you have to have accountability for every step in the chain of construction and development. We did that, and that's the schedule that guided us to this point. And the third is when you're operating in a railroad environment where folks, you must have, in order to do work, you have to have access to track and be able to get work done, which was the struggle with our friends at Amtrak. And we learned from it, and now on the Penn Access project, where we're going to give 4 people in the Bronx mass transit for the first time in the East Bronx, Amtrak has agreed to promise outages so you can actually get the work done on time and to provide the flaggers and other personnel necessary for safe work to happen. So contract commitments, accountability, detailed schedule, and a modern design build approach to mega project construction.
Yes, 2 quick questions over here, Governor and Mr. Lieber. First question is about the time savings. Bear with me, but there are some commuters who say by the time you get up the longest escalators in the city, because this is so far underground, and walk to where you're going on the east side, it's more like 2 or 3 minute savings from walking from Penn Station. So what is your response to that critique?
First of all, we are a cold climate state. People may want to walk from Penn Station during a snowstorm or heavy rain or winds, or they can come up through this beautiful escalator. I would use that time as meditation time. Just use that 2-minute experience. Let your mind wander. Let your gratitude overflow with the beauty of the experience of coming up here. So we can change the minds, the psychology of New Yorkers by giving them something magnificent that they deserve. And I guarantee, based on all the messages we're getting, there's a lot of people that are so grateful, cannot wait for this to be fully activated because this is a life-changing experience for our commuters.
All right, the other question has to do with the cost. Mr. Lieber, what do you say to the Riders Alliance and other folks who say, wow, $11 billion to help a comparably small portion of your daily commuters in the tri-state area? When will that kind of commitment be delivered for people who rely on subways and buses?
Hey, listen, I'm proud. The $55 billion MTA capital project is hugely focused on the subway system. So let's make sure that we don't lose sight of the fact that we're doing a ton of stuff in the subway system. Most of all, state of good repair. We got a 100-year-old system that wants to fall apart, and you have to keep investing in it. And that's what a lot of that $55 billion is going towards. But there are, huge projects. We're re-signaling the entire system. We are finally making the entire subway system accessible by putting in elevators at hundreds of stations around the city. It's never been done before. We're investing in new cars. And we're also going to do the next mega project, which is to get underway the long overdue and long promised to people of East Harlem, the 2nd Avenue subway up to 125th Street. So investments in the subway absolutely are happening. Our friends at Riders Alliance know that, and we're going to continue to work with them to make sure that everybody understands that.
And just
Oh, you're keeping it? Oh, sorry. Hello. Congratulations.
thank you.
I have 2 quick questions. The first was I was hoping you could speak a little bit to pandemic ridership and how you see this project working with that, particularly with the reverse commute, what you've been seeing there.
You can address it, but we're not at pre-pandemic levels yet. We have had increases. We're still at about 60-some%, depending on 65 to 70%. So it is starting to go up. But it's also about making sure that the experience is safer for people, that they feel that they're going to be protected. And we'll be making some announcements very shortly. Number 1, about my commitment in the state budget to the MTA overall. Number 2, our continuation and the success of what I launched with Mayor Adams back just a few months ago, and how we're starting to turn around that sense of anxiety that people have had based on polling and data related to crime. So part of it is making sure that people feel that they're having an extremely positive experience before they decide to come back to our subways. So that's part of our strategy. Knock down the opposition that people may have had. And the other part is adapting to the remote work phenomenon. This will create opportunities for people to go out and work on Long Island if they have an opportunity there, or in different parts of Queens that were not accessible. So this is a catalyst for people to have more flexibility in where they take their jobs. And that's why this is important as we reimagine the post-pandemic world. What does it look like? We're never going to go back to 100% of people working in person in Manhattan. It's just not happening. But how do we adapt? And the larger answer is that's part of our New New York initiative. What we're thinking about Midtown East, as places not just for businesses and high rises, but for a whole living experience, for people to have homes that were informally office buildings and create incentives in our budget to create. So we're not limited by anything other than our imagination on how we focus on what you're talking about, which is right sizing and making sure that we adapt to the changing demographics of who's actually taking the subway, but also doing everything we can to make sure it's a very positive safe, uplifting experience.
So, Danielle, I think as folks from the press know, East Midtown rezoning took place, and it's become an area of emphasis for growth. And lo and behold, J.P. Morgan Chase built a new headquarters, and there are a bunch of other buildings underway already. This project supports that and helps to those businesses. This was already the most high value-added job center in the United States, and now it's much more accessible. They can bring people from all over the region. They can bring them back to work, as the governor said. But everything that improves the convenience and appeal of getting to New York helps us with the post-COVID rebound. And I just remind you, that doesn't just help people who work in offices. That helps everybody who works in restaurants and hotels and all the businesses, middle class, working class people who depend on the Midtown office economy reviving for their jobs. So this is a job creator for people of all different positions on the economic ladder, and that's one of the things that's thrilling about it. I'm not going to miss the chance to mention something that has been overlooked. Like, if you look down, there's a little bump in the concourse. That's where everything north of there, J.P. Morgan Chase a couple of years ago said, we're going to double the size of our headquarters, but our plan means we got to drop 1 million square feet of extra structure through your concourse. This team figured out how to do that without losing the schedule. Dropping a whole new office building, bam, right through the concourse, redoing it, redoing the mechanicals, redoing the electrical, redoing the plumbing, didn't miss the schedule. Incredible story that hasn't been covered so far, but I got to mention it.
Good morning and congratulations. I wanted to follow up on the costs issue. You guys mentioned some of the new principles in constructing big mega projects like this and in reforming how it's done and preventing it from being delayed and over budget and all that. Are these principles being followed in current mega projects or regular projects?
We're going to be short of time. Can I just say to you, L train, third track, Penn Concourse, Long Island Railroad. Mega projects, on time, under budget. Every principle that I ranted about 2 minutes ago, and many, many more, has been implemented as part of how the MTA does mega projects. This project, along with those 3 or 4 I mentioned, shows the MTA is a leader in how to get mega projects done in a complex urban environment. Next question.
Can you say that the Interborough Express won't take 25 years and go 300% over budget?
Yes, I will confirm that 25 years from now, we'll say we've been riding this for a long time. That's one of my top priorities. That's a new initiative from our administration to, again, realize that we'll never go back to the pre-pandemic world. We have people in Queens and Brooklyn who don't want to have to come into Manhattan to go to their job in the neighboring borough. It doesn't make sense. So is it a major project? Yes. Is it going to cost money? Yes. Am I afraid to lean into it and make commitments? No. This is what we do. This is how we change the trajectory of the state. We identify projects that improve people's lives, make it easier to be a New Yorker. That's what this is all about. And those of you who don't know me, I roll up my sleeves, I sit at the table, I say, show me the plans. Take me to the work site. How far are we going? Why not more here? Are we working long enough hours? I love getting projects done. And maybe I come into some a little bit later, but now that one's going to be my baby, and I'm going to get it done. Thanks, everybody.
Terminal? What do you want to say about the new terminal?
It's pretty cool.
Can I get a quick interview?
Yeah, why not?
So what's your thoughts on the MTA finally opening the Grand Central Madison or East Side access? Have you been waiting for how long for it?
happen?
It's exciting. I mean, I just moved to Forest Hills, but this is going to make my commute a lot easier.
Where do you usually commute from Queens to Manhattan?
Normally, I take the E, which is just like a big pain in the butt. But this is definitely better for me than Penn, so I'm pretty excited.
Okay, and were you on the first shuttle from Jamaica to?
Yeah, I was on the first one, which was pretty cool.
And what do you work in the city as?
I'm actually a student, and then I work at an after-school program, but mostly just, I'm always moving around, so however I can make it easier. I'm from Jersey originally. Yeah.
All right, so by how many minutes this will cut your route?
I don't know, definitely a couple, but anything to save a little time is helpful.
All right, can you spell your name?
My name is Sarah, S-A-R-A-H.
Thank you. This is so cool.
trainvideodepot.com and look under Railroad Video Productions. You'll find look. You guys ready to explore
I thought it was like 10, whatever.
LIRR.
Train does that in some places. You switch heads and take a different, like if it was like that. Transfer to Jamaica. Stop the transfer.
Good job.
So you can take her out.
So tell me, what was your reaction to the first ride on the train to Grand Central from here? From Jamaica?
Amazing. 20 minutes. It only takes from Jamaica over here. Instead of taking the E to Lexington Avenue 53rd Street and then taking the 6 over here. 40 minutes of savings.
So what is your initial criticism towards the MTA and Governor Hochul in regards to the project?
No criticism at all, because I was the one that raised the red flag regarding the vents. Because the project was supposed to open at the end of last year, and I told Janno and to Jamie Torres Springer, don't open Grand Central Madison as of yet, because we don't want to follow the same mistakes done on 2nd Avenue Subway Phase 1. And apparently that advice was followed. And now we have today a very successful opening and a first train ride from Jamaica over here with 870 passengers. That's a huge success for a midday train ride. And that potential could grow, and it will grow. The only thing that we need to do is the MTA get involved with the Port Authority and create a region connection between them three. Because as we know, JFK Airport is nearby Jamaica Station. So therefore, why not create a simplified ticketing system that connects AirTrain with LIRR and bringing passengers into Manhattan with one single fare. It makes perfect sense. But the station, it looks beautiful. Despite the fact that we could be thousands of feet on the ground, it looks gorgeous. And that's why I could give credits to Janno Lieber and his entire team, because there's no negative criticism to give. Despite that some riders could lose their direct trains, but they shouldn't complain. They should advocate instead, like I do.
Okay. Can you spell your name?
Jason Anthony.
All right, thank you.
Got it.
Never know.
Were you contracted to work on this project?
Yes, I was.
And for how long were you working on the project for?
5 years. Over 5 years for both of us.
And where's your company based out of?
Queens. Mine is in Brooklyn.
And what did you work on?
All the acoustical ceiling.
And what are you demanding Governor Hochul and the MTA to do?
We did extra work and we weren't paid for it. And we were also forced to work during the COVID pandemic.
And they don't want to pay us for that.
Which costs us extra money, and they don't want to compensate us for that.
So, have you tried reaching anyone in the MTA? Or
we went to the high string, to the chairman, the civil rights department, and they acknowledged they did us wrong, but they don't want to reinforce the decision because they said litigation, the legal department stopped them from doing it.
So what are you going to be doing from now on? Have you reached any advocacy groups like Passengers United, Riders Alliance? Or?
We're trying to exhaust this first, and then if it doesn't work, then we go to the next step.
Can you spell your name and what's your company?
Hanson James, Hanson. Last name is James, James. My company name is Creative Construction Services. We are a minority contractor based in Queens, New York.
And you?
And my name is Terrence Jackman. We are based in Brooklyn. We are a minority-owned company. We do the fire protection work inside here, the sprinkler. And my company name is TJ Piping Heating Inc.
All right, thank you.
Bring me some of it. I will, definitely will. Because we think this is the only way we can get some attention.
Of course, of course. Okay, so I shouldn't speak to the lawyer.
Senior chief tickets up.
Project getting completed.
I am thrilled, and this is something that New Yorkers have been waiting for 20, 30, 40 years, and we're able to deliver it to them because we tore the project apart, put it back together, and said no more delays. Here we are.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Charlton D'Souza, Passengers United. What do you think of this project, Grand Central Madison and East Side Access? It's finally completed after almost 2 decades under construction. What's your thoughts on it?
It's a game changer. It's going to improve the commutes for people who live in Long Island, for people who live in Queens, and it's going to provide, job access for people who live in Manhattan and Brooklyn to go all the way to Long Island. So it's making things better because a lot of things are being improved system-wide. This has been almost 40 or 50 years in the making. So I say let's give the MTA a chance, and let's see how this works out.
Okay, obviously there's been criticism. We heard Andrew Sipp from Channel 4 ask Governor Hochul about certain riders. It's not like cutting commuters' time and fully half. We've heard also from passengers I've spoken off camera that the escalators are too long, the mezzanine is too big. What's your thoughts on that? And you being a riders advocacy group, what is your critiques of the project besides the budgetary?
So I was here last night. They have to improve the signage like they have in Monaghan. They should have the yellow lighted signs, and it should be at eye level. That needs to be worked on and improved. And then the other thing that has to be improved is definitely they need to have better mapping. The map is very confusing to read. It even threw me off as an expert. And I think there needs to be better marketing towards this. I think the shuttle trains coming here for the 3 weeks is a big mistake. I think they should just have a train. They should just have the new schedules out because that's what's going to bring the ridership. People feel uncomfortable to be on a crowded train.
Okay, so did you ride the train from Jamaica here?
Yes.
How was the experience?
Wonderful. We had 2 seats. It was great. I loved it.
So if Governor Hochul was here right now, what would you tell her directly to her face about the project?
It's a good question. So what I would say to Governor Kathy Hochul is please make the city ticket $3.75 for people who live in Queens, Northeast Queens and Southeast Queens. And also, they need to make sure that they have a $60 freedom ticket or a city ticket, a weekly with a combined unlimited Metro card and a 7-day pass, so everyone can benefit from this.
There's been talks before about the project, as a transit expert, of integrating Omni with the Long Island Railroad. What is your advocacy based on that? And do you think if the MTA is trying to create a regional rail network, it looks like East Side Access is now finally put Metro North and LIRR together. Would you like to see something where Omni would be used, and how would you also tell, it's a complex issue conductors personally feel
So-
threatened by that.
We have been at every MT board and committee meeting. We've been asking the chairman for that because Omni is very easy to use. You don't have to insert it in anything, and it works out pretty well.
You have anything else to say, Mr. D'Souza?
Yes. So we are concerned about the homeless coming in here, and once the police are gone, and once everything is gone, the crazy people are going to start coming down here and causing trouble. I can almost guarantee you that. And I hope that the police presence in here and that everything is going to be tight.
All right, can you spell your name and say what your group is?
So, my spelling of my name is C as in cat, H is in house, A is in apple, R is in rain, L is in light, T is in tag, O is in orange, N is in navel, and then it's D'Souza. D is in dog, S is in school, O is in orange, U is in union, Z is in zebra, A is in apple, and I'm the president of Passengers United. One thing I want to say, Riders Alliance, that group that you were asking me the question about, I haven't seen Betsy Plum ever attend a MTA board meeting. How dare she criticize the MTA when we attend all the board meetings and we're all volunteers at Passengers United? Where the hell has she been? And they've been calling for no police in the subways. They don't want police. So those people are nuts. I'm sorry. They need to be called out. People are fed up of them, and you know, we're going to call them out today.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, nice seeing you. Give them, oh, yes, the part?
Tell me about what are your thoughts of the East Side Access Project and its opening day and Governor Hochul's remarks?
Well, for one thing, I mean, this is a game changer for so many New Yorkers who have not had this kind of access between railroads, for one thing. And at the same time, it's a game changer when it comes to the new schedules for reverse commutes. I know my colleague mentioned a lot of that earlier. One concern that I have, and this goes back to when they released the draft schedules, is that there are some lines that are being hit harder than others when it comes to, I know they are claiming that they're increasing service across the board, but I'm not really seeing that on many of the diesel lines, and Brooklyn service is especially going to be cut. They're planning on changing that to a shuttle route using the new platform at Jamaica Station. But what's going to happen is, the problem with that is that, let's say if you're, there are going to be no more time transfers. So let's say you're someone with a mobility issue who has to go up the elevator and over just to realize that your train that you needed to get home is gone. So that's something that needs to be looked into. There needs to be a lot better communication in regards to accessibility and equity in Brooklyn. And when it comes to Omni being implemented in the Long Island Railroad and Metro North, considering that we can now buy tickets that are pretty much unified in that sense. One thing that I would recommend is look at what some of these other countries in Europe have done. I've been to the Netherlands, and what I've seen there is you can actually go through fare gates using a ticket or a fare pass. You check in, you go through the fare gate, you're pretty much able to go anywhere within the system, and when you get to your station you check out, and that's when it takes your fare. So that's something that the MTA should really look into implementing. It just makes it so much easier. The conductors don't have to check it because they know you're in the paid system. So that's something that I would recommend.
Okay, can you spell your name?
Absolutely. That's J as in Jaguar, A as in Alpha, C as in Charlie, K as in Kite. That's my first name. My last name is Nierenberg. That's N as in November, I as in India, E as in Echo, R as in Romeo, E as in Echo, N as in November, B as in Bravo, E as in Echo, R as in Romeo, G as in Golf. And I'm the Vice President of Passengers United.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Hey, listen, you know, this is what I'm good for, taking photos. All right. You're not going outside, are you?
There you go. All right.
From the moment you enter the tunnel portal through the entire trip, the turn onto Park Avenue is incredibly smooth. You don't feel a thing. He gave me the name
Resilient
of it.
High Block.
That's what he said.
So you're not good.
Wow.
Charlton's gone corporate.
We will definitely speak up, Mr. Chairman. What Riders Alliance said should not have been said, but we will speak up to you guys. I got you.
Speak up today.
I did. I just spoke up to NBC4. We got you.
All right.
You're doing
Do you
the
want to take a
best we
photo?
can.
Sure, why not? Of all of us, or
Oh, yeah,
separate,
sure.
or how do you want it?
She didn't even apply